ahead and, all right, the red light just came on. So what I'm going to start with tonight, others may join us as we go. I'm going to go through all the functions of Blackboard, everything that goes in there, pastoring, the weekly schedule. I'm going to cover all those things for us tonight. And then I'll get to, in terms of content, I'll get to crisis packs, and I will get to assessment inventory, are the two things that go with tonight's lesson that I'll get to. So to start with, we've got welcome and course introduction. As I said, I'll be doing 10 Zoom sessions this summer with you. The dates are here on the course introduction, the course overview, welcome and course introduction here. So tonight and 9 more nights, we won't meet the week of the 4th. Remember, these sessions aren't required. I'll post them all on YouTube. When I get through, I'll process and post them there. You can go and look at them. And again, they're an extension of this week's lesson, the things that you should be learning in this week's lesson. And so to start the course, of course, you go to the weekly schedule. It contains all the reading and assignments. You go to Leanne, are you there? Leanne, can you hear me yet? Leanne, are you there? Leanne?
Yes.
There you are. Welcome. So you follow your weekly schedule, which can be found on the main menu. I'll pull it up in just a minute. You follow that weekly schedule for all your readings and your discussion boards. I think I have a little more than one a week. What I was shooting for, hopefully, is obviously in the 10-week summer session, classes wouldn't, or the amount of work would normally be 6 hours as opposed to 4 during the regular semester. So hopefully I haven't given you more than it's going to take you about 6 hours a week, because I don't want you to get behind on your evidence artifact work. So I don't have that many discussion boards. I hopefully haven't overdone it on the reading and the discussion boards. But let me know. Obviously, you have to upload. The process is when you have rough drafts of components or final evidences that have all the components in them, you put those in discussion board for peer review. You peer review everybody else's. When those are finalized, obviously they go into task stream for comments, but you also, for me, put them in assignment Dropbox. I'll go over that in just a minute. Make sure you understand that your work initially goes into discussion board to help you with the work, but then when the work is completed and ready for task stream, you put it into assignment Dropbox for me, and I'll give you a grade on it in there. Now, the idea behind that is your internship is pass-fail, and there is no incomplete because it's ongoing. And so really we try to give you a grade for the work that you do more than just pass-fail, but that's represented in your coursework. So don't forget to go ahead and do your, once you get your components ready for task stream, go ahead and drop them in assignment Dropbox, and I'll grade them in there. Obviously, you can go to discussion board to do your discussion boards and do your peer reviews there. And you can post completed peer reviews there. And there are the textbooks. There's my information. You can call or email me anytime, except for the hours of 12:30 a.m. to 4:30 a.m. Let me sleep a little bit. But other than that, nights, weekends, holidays, I understand that's when you work. The syllabus is also under a button over here on the side. It just basically outlines the things you already know about Gardner Webb, the grading policy, the attendance policy for online, those kinds of things. If you have not done your enrollment verification activity, you need to do that now or very soon. I checked yesterday and we still had, I think, 8 that had not done it. I had not checked it today. I can do that right quick and see where we are. Okay, looks like 1, 2, to Thurman and Neil. And Rebecca are the only three that have not done their EVAs. So if you three would, as soon as you can get, let me see now. As soon as y'all can get to that, make sure you do that. It's critical in the summer. They only give you until like the end of this week. You don't have as much time as you do during the regular semester. So by the end of the week, if you haven't done those EVAs, you'll probably get dropped as a no-show, and it'll mess up your financial aid and other issues. So make sure if you haven't done your EVAs, the three that I just mentioned, go ahead and do those as soon as you can. All right. Now, also on course overview, there's some Blackboard training modules down here. That's where the Blackboard test is. Those are optional. I believe because we're using new Blackboard and then some of the functions have changed, it would probably be a good idea to go in those orientation modules and see what the changes are. I've had to do that myself and get recertified. I was certified at 9.1, but I had to go back through, and so there's some quizzes in there. I see some folks are taking those. It would be a good idea to go back and revisit Blackboard since it is now new Blackboard. Is anybody, I guess, wouldn't be here, but if anybody's having trouble with Blackboard, it's because there's two tabs now on your Web Connect page. One is Blackboard and one is old Blackboard, and this course obviously is under new Blackboard. So those are the things in terms of course overview. Let's look at the weekly schedule. Okay. Okay. So what we have now is we have our weekly schedule. For this week, we do introduction to course and instructor. I'll do a task stream overview. I'm covering Blackboard now. We'll talk about evidence artifacts when we get the task stream tools. And then, of course, the preventative law is the little session that I'll do with you once I've covered those materials. These are the evidence that are due to task stream this semester: the SCIP components C, D, and E, the OMA, A, B, C, D, and E, the SOP, D, and E, the SCIP final, and the OMA final. The finals are when you put all the components together in one document. If you've not been doing that so far, I have some templates that can help you with that if you would like to use them. Of course, that's up to you. And then I have each of those, and I have the discussion boards that you're to do each week. 1 week I've got 3 here, but they're all related. But other than that, pretty much you've only got 1 per week. So hopefully we won't overburden you. I also have your turn-ins over here on the right. You review your A and B for this week. They should already be completed. If not, you need to get them done this week. Next week, we need to begin to peer review your SCIP, C, D, and E, and discussion board. You need to have those ready by next week to go in there for peer review, and then for the next couple of weeks, and then SCIP C through D and E is due to me and Blackboard, assignment Dropbox, and then task stream for comments the week of June 6th. And you can read those. You can see what. So for every week, I've got where you need to be with your evidence artifact work and what you need to do with them. It tells you drop it in assignment Dropbox or put it in discussion board for peer review. So I have all of those. I have all your readings. I have all the topics. I have all the materials that I'm going to use in the Zoom sessions already there. So that's pretty straightforward. Anybody have any questions so far?
Not so far.
Good. All right. Does that look reasonable to you, Elizabeth?
Looks great to me.
All right. Okay, let's go to a new share here. Go back to the Blackboard. All right. Assignment Dropbox. This is where you will put your completed component work. Once you have it ready for task stream, you will drop it in these boxes here, and I will give you a grade on that, a class grade. As you can see, the only class grades you get other than your discussion board questions are these. I don't have any other outside projects. So you have one weekly discussion board. There's 1 week you have 3, but they're all related. If you have your discussion boards that I will grade each week, I'll grade your peer reviews. And I'll grade your completed evidence artifact, your completed evidence narratives, your components, and your final ones. Other than that, there is nothing else. I don't believe in busy work. It all should be related to what we're doing. I'll make that work for you to do. All right, so that's assignment Dropbox, discussion board. You can see those. You folks have already been getting in those. I've already got 12 total posts for the first week. So that's great. And I see I've got two that might have come in the last few minutes. So as you can see, and then there's a place for you to put your components for peer review, and then there's a place down here at the end if you have any questions. So discussion board's pretty straightforward. There are 14 discussion boards again. 1 week it was 6A, B, and C. That didn't make sense to me, so I just numbered them. So other than that, you've pretty much got 1 a week to work on. So that shouldn't take you, your reading and your discussion board shouldn't take more than 6 hours a week. All right, task stream tools. All right, so what I have here is I have some final evidence narrative templates. And what these are is when, for each of the 6 evidences, when you get to the end, and you've got all the components of that evidence written, and you've got them in task stream, you'll notice in task stream there's a box at the end on your work page. On the left-hand side, it says app cell component A, B, C, D, and E. Then there's a box that just says app cell. That's where the final comprehensive document that goes that contains all 5 of your evidence and also of your evidence narratives. Also, that's the place where you write your summaries and descriptors. Under task stream tools, I have a document to help you with that. Let me go back to that. Well, while we're here, we'll go ahead and look at what a template looks like. It's just a Word document that reminds you what goes in there. You take and copy and paste your work into it. Now, using these, okay. So there you can see it's got a cover page, and then it has, you put your name, and then it has all the different components. It should be component A instead of part A. But it has everything that goes in there, and it has it already in, the margins are set. It's in APA style. Shows you how to do your references in APA. I don't know if you've been using templates or putting your papers together like this. This is optional. If you don't want to do this, this is fine. But I have one of these for each of the 6 evidences if you want to go in and use these to put your final documents in. All right. All right, so those are under task stream tools, and those are your templates, as you can see there. Now, the next 3 folders, I have completed final evidence narratives. I have 2 for each of the 6. So I have 36 different examples here of my students and interns work over the last 2 years. I try to use the more current ones. We have them for 6 years, but these represent the last couple of years' work for my students. They're a variety of places in terms of urban, rural. I've even got some from South Carolina in there. But you can look at those examples and see what they should look like. I have a copy of my notes from fall 15. I don't know if y'all have used Dale's notes. Have y'all heard of Dale's notes?
Mm-hmm.
I'm Dale. All right. So,
I'm in Sunday school with Lindsay Allison at One Springs.
oh, yeah.
She shared them with me.
Great. Great. Lindsay's my favorite. She'll tell you. She's going to Blacksburg. She's happy, getting a big raise. So I'm happy for her.
Me too.
I'm going to run and see them Monday night, a couple Monday nights. They're on main campus. And so I'll see them. But yeah, my notes explain what to do or not to do. You can use them as a guide if you want to. If you don't want to use them, if you want to be more free form, that's up to you. Some people read them and then go their own way, and some people follow them pretty closely. But that's completely at your discretion how little or how much you want to use my notes. Now, the next document that you see there is a quick reference guide. It is my notes, but only in outline form. Very, very bare bones. Different people learn different ways. I don't care how you learn, just that you learn. Some people need notes. I mean, everything written out. Do this, don't do that. Some people just need a bare outline. That's up to you. Now, they're all correlated. So whether you use the notes, some people write off the template. Some use those as their guide. Some use the notes. Some use all three. Whichever way helps you to understand the process the best of what you're trying to do, which is build a school improvement plan by doing all these different evidences. Whichever way is that you understand it is the way you should do it. Now, I have a document here writing task string summary and descriptors. As I said, when you submit that final comprehensive evidence narrative and any attached artifacts that you have for each of the 6 evidences in task string, when you put the final one in there, there's a button to the right that says complete form. When you click that button, it asks you to write a 3-part summary, and then it asks you to write the descriptors that went along with that evidence. That document will help you with that. It basically, you just answer the questions. I have the relevant questions from each of the 6 evidences on that document. And if you answer each of those questions with a paragraph, you'll have written your summary. Now, the accomplished summaries and descriptors, that's a document that shows you what they should look like. So, for example, if you don't know in 1B1 when they're asking you what you did in 1B1 when you work with others, that's basically forming your PLC when you start your app cell in Mels 601. But if you don't know what you're being asked from a descriptor, look at those, because those are a good example of what they're asking for. You write 5 sentences for each of the descriptors. So these will help you with task string. Now, I'm not going to be so directive as to tell you, you must do this, that, or the other because you're not my interns. If you were my interns, we'd be going over these in depth. But hopefully your internship supervisor has provided you with guidance of what they would like to see in your work. Some like Dale's notes, some don't like them. Some want you to do more on your own. That's up to your internship supervisor. As I look down the list here, I don't see any of you are my interns, so I'll leave that up to them. But here are some materials that will help you, hopefully through the process and make it easier, where you won't spend so much time trying to figure out what to do. You'll spend more of your time actually doing it. So, again, under task string tools, over here on our menu, you will find all these examples, templates, notes, outline, quick reference guide, how to write your summary descriptors. Any questions you have should be answered by one of these documents. If not, call or email me, and I'll answer your question.
23 people?
Okay. All right. So that's task stream tools. The next one that I have is intern materials. In here, I have a site supervisor packet. This is what I use with my interns. I give this to the principal when I go out and visit the intern. It explains the program. It has your log in there for your 400 hours. It has a list of suggested activities, all those things, and it has the conferences. One of the things I want to go over with you tonight is that there we go. All right, here we are. I want to go over that site supervisor packet with you. One of the things that you need to take some responsibility for is making sure that you keep your site supervisor up to date on what's going on with your program. So you can see this packet. Basically, it's an explanation for your principal of what you're going through in terms of the program. It speaks to the 400 hours that you have to have, your 6 evidences. But it also has a list of suggested activities for you to complete during that 400 hours. It can't just be any random 400 hours. I went and visited an intern recently. And the bulk of his activities were bus duty. That won't do it. You must pretty much hit everything on this list, and there's a reason why. It's not just that I'm being difficult. You need to understand that this list of suggested activities is correlated to the 21 competencies for administrators for the state of North Carolina that which will be your final evaluation in this program. You understand at the very end of this program, when you're in 605, toward the end of this program, your site supervisor, your principal, and your internship supervisors from Gardner Webb independently are going to be asked to rate you on all 21 of these competencies. And the first question the principals ask me is what does this stuff mean? How would I know if they've done this or not? And what I have them do then, just turn the page over, because I always hand it to them in paper form. If they've done this list, everything that's on this list of activities, they will have hit all 21 of these competencies. That's why it's important that you understand it can't just be any 400 hours. Yes, we have to sign off on your log that you did 400 hours. That's the first part. Your internship supervisor does that. But the bigger issue and the more important piece here is that during that 400 hours that you hit all 21 of these competencies. Well, to hit all 21 of these competencies, you have to do everything that's on this suggested activity. It's just that simple. And so it can't all be bus duty. It can't all be going to IEP meetings if you're an EC teacher. So those are the things to remember when you're looking at your 400 hours. All right. Questions about the 400 hours? Everybody understands that. About 80 hours a semester. Now, this summer, this is up to you, I always suggest to my interns that the best way to get your hours in the summertime is once school is out, you'll come back and do 2 weeks, either four 10-hour days for 2 weeks or 5 8-hour days for 2 weeks. You can get your 80 hours. Spend some time with your administrative team. Usually the schedule's already in the can, but since we are concerned with scheduling this semester, that might be something that you can look at. That's a good time to look at the technical things like EVOS, Power School, and things like that. They'll have more time for you in the summertime, maybe. Look at more at depth at some of those kinds of technical things. please remember that rarely does anybody get a battlefield promotion anymore and go from the classroom to becoming a principal. Normally, you have to become an assistant principal first. In North Carolina, that's a 2-year contract now, and in a year and a half, they make a decision on you as to whether to continue with you or not. It's not an automatic rollover contract. The main reason that new assistant principals are not renewed across the state is technology. They're not up to speed with doing evaluations, putting them into Power Source. They don't understand Power School. They don't know how to put disciplinary data in there, and all the other. And they don't know how to feed the monster, which is Power School. They don't know how to interpret EVOS. They don't know how to. They don't know PBIS. They don't understand RTI. They don't understand the technical pieces of all of those things, the record keeping, the data management of those, or they don't keep up. That's usually the reason why young assistant principals don't make it. Please remember, while we're training you ultimately to be an executive leader, you're going to have to become an AP first, which is a technician level job. But you need to learn the technical pieces of that job. You can delegate those when you become principal, but you're going to be the person that gets delegated to as the AP. So make sure you understand that. And so the summertime, whether you're in 603 or not, the summertime is the best time to get a lot of that technical stuff. Your administrators will have more time to work with you on seeing it from their side of the table. I have students all the time say to me, but Dale, I know all about Power School. I've got a portal in my classroom. That's the teacher portal. The administrative side is much different and much more involved. So on all of these technical platforms, the administrative side is much different than the teacher side. And what you need to be able to do is to see the platform from the other side. That would be a good thing to do this summer. So again, this is a document. I have it on our board. You can download it and print it out and give it to your, if nobody has given one to your site supervisor, it might be a good idea to do that so they can kind of understand the relationship between competency and activities, and remind them that they're going to be asked to grade you on those 21 competencies at the end of the program. Has everybody had a visit from their internship supervisor recently?
How recent are we talking?
During the spring semester?
No.
We did ours on a Zoom session instead of.
Yeah, I was getting ready to say the same thing. Zoom session.
Okay. Has somebody been out to your school face to face with you? Maybe when you were in 601?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. So we're good on that one. Then everybody should have had at least one face to face at the beginning of the program. Mm-hmm. Then after that, they do a lot of Zoom, and that's okay. And so that's good. So everybody's principal should be on board. When they came out, did they give you these kinds of things? When they came out, did they put something in your principal's hand?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And your principal has their username and login information passed through so they can keep up with your dispositions along the way?
Yes.
Yeah.
There's another disposition due this semester. Don't forget, there was one due in the first semester. There's one due this semester. They need going in pretty soon to do your disposition, your personality.
What was that about the disposition?
Pardon?
What was that about, a disposition?
There is a site supervisor disposition due in semester 3.
Okay, so they didn't have to already submit one?
They did in semester 1. They had to do 3.
Okay, I don't think my site supervisor has done that.
Okay, they need to.
Okay. How can I get her the information? Should I just talk to my internship supervisor?
Who's your internship supervisor?
I'm trying to think of his name. He's from Wilkes County.
Stephen Murray?
Yes, Mr. Murray.
Okay. Let me look at something right quick.
Okay. I know for a fact that my supervisor didn't fill that out. So
Okay. Do.
now, are you talking about our principals or?
Right, that's who I'm talking about. I am talking about Karen Alton.
Yes,
Is that who you still have?
I do.
Okay, and at Drexel Elementary?
Yes.
All righty.
Did she write one?
Now, I have her information.
Okay.
If when you go to scores results on your in task stream on your scores results page, if you don't see a met under site supervisor disposition semester 1, then she didn't do it.
Okay.
And so I can send her the directions and her username and password.
Well, can I look and make sure it's not there and then email you and let you know?
You can.
Okay, let me do that.
When you do that, I'll be glad to send those directions. If
Okay.
and her username and password, I have all that on a spreadsheet.
Okay.
So I can do that. So for any of you, if your site supervisor has not done disposition semester 1 for site supervisors, and the reason why is they don't have their username and password, if you will email me, I will send that out to them unless there's a problem. And if you have changed site supervisors already, which happens, you will need to go under Web Connect, update information, and put your new person in there so that Dr. Shellman can send them a new username and password. I will have the one that you had when you started the program back in the fall. I have all the original site supervisor emails, their emails or names or emails and their task stream username and passwords. I have all of those. But if they've been updated since then, I will not have them, or if they need to be updated now. So I will be glad to send that. So Leanna, just let me know if I need to send.
I will.
Okay. So everybody's should be up to speed. You will need, each of you, now that you're in 603, you will need to do university disposition semester 3. You should have already completed university semester disposition semester 1. If you didn't, you need to go ahead and do it now. And do 3. Go ahead and do 3 now. Please remember that task stream's a little bit quirky. Your site supervisor, your principal, can go in anytime and do site supervisor positions. However, your internship supervisor, whether it be me or Mr. Moree or whoever you have, we cannot go in and do our university disposition on you until you do your own on yourself first. That's just one of the quirks of the program. Again, site supervisors can go in anytime. For my interns and for you, for your internship supervisors, we cannot do ours until you do yours. And so I'll get students from time to time who will email me, why haven't you done my university disposition? And my response is, because you hadn't done yours. It's just that, that's just one of the quirks of the program. So you need to check your account, go to your work page in TaskStream, and go down to your dispositions. Now, I believe that you folks have some additional disposition work to do besides just the university dispositions that go along with what you're doing. You need to make sure you've done those too. And we'll look at TaskStream in just a minute and see what those would look like. All right, so that's a good place for us to go right now is to TaskStream. Okay. Share screen. All right, get out of that. Sign in. $fall 15. Okay. Okay, can you see task stream now?
Yes.
Yes.
This would be what your work page would look like. This is Lindsay's, by the way. And so Lindsay did her disposition semester 1, and there's a second disposition, SOE disposition. It's pretty much a recount, but they go 2 different places. So make sure that you've done both of these for semester 1 when you go to your work page. And then these are due now. You can start doing disposition semester 3. That's university disposition semester 3, and your SOE disposition semester 3. Those are due now. As you can see, your site supervisor has 1, 2, 3 in semesters 1, 3, and 5. So 1 should have been done already. If not, they need to do it now. And 3 is due now. They can go in at any time. Again, to be redundant, your Gardner-Webb internship supervisor cannot go in and complete the other half of these until you do yours first. So go ahead and do those when you get time. And here's where you should be at the end. This is Lindsay. She was my student in the fall. This is where you should be. All of your app cells should be done. All of this, skip A and B should be done. She's already got through here on the cap and her SOP, so she's where she's supposed to be. And that's what yours should look like. When you get down here to this one, this is where you have one document where all of your components are in there. This is for your final state grading. All your components are graded along the way by Gardner-Webb. The final one is graded by the same people, but for the state using the state grading rubric. So it's the one that really counts. So I have students who will ask me from time to time, I have improved my component C, let's say the AppTel, but I can't go back and resubmit it because it's already been graded. That's fine. Just make those changes in that final comprehensive document that goes here or here.
And so when are those documents due?
Well, they're due along the way.
That's what I thought. Okay.
So for this semester, you should, last semester, you should have had the AppTel and the skip should have been put in by the end of last semester. For this semester, by the end of this semester, you should have the skip and the OMA should be in there by the end of this semester. Now, what some students do is they just work on doing all their components, and then they do their final submissions during 605. That's not a bad plan, especially since y'all will be finishing in the spring. That's a really bad plan if you finish in the summer. There's just not enough time to get them in the summer. Once you have all your components in task stream and graded at least proficient, I would go ahead and start putting those final ones together. You can get them graded along the way. I like to see that myself. Now, along with, in that final submission, along with that comprehensive narrative that has all 5 of your components in it, also there's going to be a button that's going to be over here on the right-hand side of the screen that says complete form. And when you click on it, it's going to open up I don't know if you can see this or not.
Not right now.
Let's see. It says it's trying to download it from task stream. Anyway, that's where you put your summary and descriptive. Let's see. No, That's not it. Okay. But anyway, so let me open a document, top share, that would show you what that would look like. All right, so they will have 3 boxes, and brief reflection, impact, and evaluation of the evidence, and then you'll have your descriptors. I can get it to scroll down. There it goes. And so you'll have all the descriptors of the 37. You'll have the 6 or 7 that go with that particular evidence, and you'll write 5 sentences on how to do those. That's where, with that final submission for each of the 6 evidences in task stream, that's where your summary and descriptors go. What happens is when 30% of these go to the state for inter-rater reliability, we grade them all. The state has access to them all. They pull 30% of them at random. First thing they do is they look at your summary and descriptors. If your summary and descriptors are good, they won't even bother to read your evidence. If there's questions, they'll go back to your evidence. So these need to be done at the right way. So speaking to that, stop share, share screen. Get out of that one. So I have a document, as I told you, I have a document to help you if I can get that. I finally got it to close. Okay. All right, so close down. And close down. Go here. So I have a document on that will help you to write these summaries and descriptors. And it's under task stream tools, and it's writing task stream summaries and descriptors. Isn't that neat? So, share. There it is. And so what I have is, you know, if you will answer these questions for each of the 6 evidences, you will have written your summary, and then here's how to write descriptors. Now, originally the summary was intended to be one narrative. It's been split into 3, not because we wanted 3 different ones, but because we couldn't make the one box bigger. So what you can do is you can take it, like the first 3 or 4 questions go in the first box, then the second 3 or 4, and then the last 3 or 4. Kind of in general, that's the way it works. So for the first box, answer the first 4 questions, and then the second 3, and then the last 3. But there's 3 boxes for your summary. But you can write it all in one document and put it into 3 parts if you want to. For a descriptor, you write 5 sentences: content, process, analysis, outcome, reflection. Content, what'd you do? Well, for 1B1, I formed a PLC with the math department. What'd you do? How'd you do it? Well, I put together all the math teachers. What happened as a result? We did a Y in algebra, what we used to call algebra 1A and 1B. We moved algebra from a semester to a year. Outcome, we implemented it. Students did better. Reflection, was worthwhile. Didn't cost us anything. We'd do it again. Those are your 5 sentences. That's how you write a descriptor. Again, I have examples of those under task stream tools, the accomplished summaries and descriptors. So if you don't know what they're asking you, you can go back and look at those. But, this semester, if you have not been putting them together, I have asked by the end of the semester that you put together your final OMA and your final skip, because those will be completed this semester, and drop them into assignment Dropbox, the narrative. Obviously, you don't have to have the summary and descriptors for me, but if you've got that document, it would be a good idea to start trying to learn how to write those summaries and descriptors this semester. Don't wait till the last semester, because part of the problem with that is it's been so long since you did all this stuff, especially your first two that were done basically in the first 3 or 4 months you were in the program. It'll be well over a year before you revisit those. And it makes it a lot more painful process to put them together in the end. So I would suggest you start looking at summary and descriptors and putting together your final evidence narratives for the evidences that you have completed all the components on. Stop share. Share screen. Back to task stream. All right. So there we are. Any questions about task stream? Are y'all ahead of the game on task stream? Have you rushed ahead and got in front? Yes.
This has been very helpful.
We're all way ahead. Now, if you were my intern, I put you on a 4-semester program for my interns. All of my interns are through by the end of 604. I don't like the idea that we get to 605 and be behind or not be where we need to be. And so I have a group in Raleigh right now. They're all through. They just started 605 this week, and they're all through. They had class Tuesday night. Part of them are face-to-face at Athens Drive, and the rest are online. And I've had them in class a couple times, but they're all through. And that would be a good goal for all of you, is to try to get at least all your component work done and be just to the summary and descriptors or to the final ones by the time you get to 605. You'd be better off if you had them all done by the time you got there. But you do have the whole spring to work. The reason why I pushed that group in Raleigh so hard is I knew that they were going to finish in the summertime. There's just no time in the summer to do this. All right. Here's a heads up for you. Let's look at the OMA component C that you'll be doing this summer in class while we're in class this summer. Let's look at the directions for C. You're supposed to assess special populations. The special populations that you need to assess are EC 504, Title I if you have it, academically gifted, your ESL LEP program, and your intervention team referral students. Those are the ones that were referred to your intervention. You may call it your care team or SST or whatever, if you're doing multi-tiered, your MTSS team. Whoever in your building handles the referrals for kids who are having academic difficulty and behavior difficulty. Those are your special populations. Now, what you will need to do in component C is first tell us what they're supposed to get, and then what they get at your school, and then do an interview with the person in charge of that at your school to find out if that program is compliant or not with all federal and state law. It is the intent of this part of the assessment to determine if the school is providing legally compliant, ethically sound services. So you're going to have to do some interviews. Now, what's going to happen here before long is people are going to get out the door and be gone on you. Testing is going to start end of year. So you probably need to start with OMA Component C. This is for everybody that's listening and everybody that hopefully views this on YouTube. You need to go ahead and start, regardless of what order you want to do. You need to go ahead and look at OMA C so that you can get started on it, because you do need to do some interviews. with the people that you need, with your EC chair, with your AIG chairperson, whoever's in charge of that, whether you've got a separate person or maybe it's a facilitator, but the people who are in charge of EC 504, AIG, Title I, LEP, DSL, whichever you call it at your school, and your intervention team, you need to interview those people to determine if your school is providing legally compliant services to the children. So, three things that you do overall in that component is first thing you do, you tell us what each of those 5 special populations by law is supposed to get. Remember, this is a law course. So legally, what are they supposed to get? You outline that. That's the first section of OMAC. Second section is, this is what they get at our school. Third is, I interviewed the EC chair, and they said our head count is all up to date. All reevals are done. We are compliant. That's how you do OMAC. So, it's a time issue. Don't wait until June 15th to start OMAC because you won't find anybody. They'll all be gone. So that's just a heads up on your evidence artifact work. Okay. Everything else is pretty straightforward this summer in terms of the things that are due. But that's one that's just you need to get started on it soon. Again, what are they supposed to get legally? What are they getting at our school? Is it legally compliant? Those are the 3 things that you need to know for each of those 5 areas. If you have those, the only thing you might not have Title I. Other than that, and even if you're in a secondary school, you still have an intervention team. A lot of times, secondary people tell me, we don't have one. Yes, you do. You're legally required to have one, so you do have an intervention team. They're much more active in elementary than at the other levels, but you do have one. Questions about task stream or components or any of those things? All right. I've got 10 minutes, and that's all I needed. I'm right on time. What I want you to look at in terms of content from tonight is an assessment inventory. This week we were looking at minimizing risk and looking at crisis plans and being prepared for emergencies and those kinds of things. That was what our work was this week. And so this is a inventory that I put together when I was in charge of this in CMS. When we would go out and do audits of schools, or we'd send the audit team out to audit schools, especially in preparation for state audits. This is what this is. This is a state audit preparation. We would go out and look at this. This is under Zoom session 1. This is something that you should be looking at. This fits into the reasonable person standard in law. This is not just something that's pulled out of the air. The reasonable person says that the standard, and I have that one here. I won't bore you with it, but when we're dealing with professionals, in cases where the human utilizes professional skill set, the reasonable person under circumstance becomes elevated to reasonable professional under the circumstances. The idea here is because you are a trained professional, you have a higher standard of duty in terms of supervision and safety and what you're responsible for. And so that goes back to where we were in terms of this assessment inventory. These are all the things that you are really responsible for as a school administrator. Making sure your bus loading and drop-off car zones are clearly defined and separated so that your car riders don't get in the bus lot and vice versa. You don't have kids running through either of them. They're separated, those kinds of things. You have signs. Your office is clearly posted. You have cameras. You don't prop doors open during the day, that all your outside doors are locked. You don't store chemicals. My favorite story is we had an audit in one of the high schools in CMS, and I got a call. They said, "You got to come out here and see this. You just won't believe it." So we're going to have to close the school cafeteria down. And I was like, "What? We've got a 3,000 kid high school. We're going to have to close the cafeteria down. You got to be pulling my leg." "No, we're not, Dad. You got to come out here and see this." And so what had happened was, in the back of the large cafeteria in a large 4AA high school in Charlotte, the custodians had taken some of those petitions that you use in classroom to kind of petition things off, and petitioned off the back corner of the cafeteria, and keeping all their volatile chemicals back there so they wouldn't have to walk all the way to the closet and get it. I can't make stuff like that up. I'm not smart enough. And obviously, we got in a little trouble over that and had to pay some money, but because the fire marshal called us doing that and doing an audit. So when the fire marshal comes out, this is what they use when they come out. This is what you use in preparation for a state audit. But this is what the fire marshal uses. You got to have chemicals in a chemical storage closet. They can't be on the bottom shelf. All of those things are covered. Your entrances, two-way communication, all that stuff is on this inventory. You should spend some time with this. You'd be amazed at what you're responsible for. But again, you're a professional. You are held to a higher standard under the law because you've been trained. So these are the things, and as an AP, you're probably going to be the person that walks with the custodian who has the ring of keys when the fire marshal comes out. And these will be the things that you will be responsible for. So if you want to know, well, I don't know what, I've never done an assessment inventory, or I've never been with the fire marshal, this is it. This is what they're going to be looking for when they come. So you should spend some time with that and get him prepared. This is something you want to download and keep, by the way. The fire marshal won't give you this, but this is what they're going to be using when they come out. And in new AP, you're going to be the low person on the totem pole. It's going to be your job to go out and do this. This is going to be one of the first jobs you get in real life. When you get your AP job, you're going to be so happy that you're a professional and put on your best bow tie and your nicest shoes and look good. But this is what you're going to be doing. This is the first thing that you're going to do as an AP. You might as well download it and read it, memorize it if you have to, but keep it somewhere handy because you're going to need it later on. All right, so there's that one. The other thing that I wanted to share with you tonight is about the crisis box itself. Again, this is under Zoom session 1. Let me stop the share. And I don't know if I can get this one to load, quite honestly. What I may have to do, let's see. I may have to go here and see if I can bring it up this way. Let's see. Can you see that on the screen?
Yes.
Crisis response box?
Mm-hmm.
Great. Okay. All right. So this is the full document. I have it under tonight's Zoom session. But it has all the things that need to be in your crisis box, which is supposed to be under the front desk at your school. It has all the things that are supposed to be in there. It has all of your, so here we go, an aerial photo of the campus, the maps, the campus layout, the blueprint, the teacher roster, the keys, fire alarm, and sprinkler turn-off procedures, where the gas lines are, utilities, copies of photos of students if you've got them, a current yearbook. What generally we have is the standard operating procedure in the state of North Carolina is that every Monday during the school year, your data manager, whoever manages your power school at your school, the secretary at that level, will run a complete set of classroom rosters and put in the crisis box every Monday, so that they'll never be more than a week old in terms of having a list of what kids are supposed to be where with what teacher at what times. So sometimes it's done. I know that a lot of times schools just do it at the beginning of the year, and they might get around to it for the second semester. But the legal standard here for professionals, again, there's a higher standard under the reasonable person standard in court when you have to go to court. The reasonable standard here is that you will run it once a week. Every Monday they'll do a new set of classroom rosters in that box every Monday. But here are all the things that go in that box. Now, to kind of close out tonight's session, I am not telling you through taking this law and finance course, mostly law course, that you will be able to prevent anything bad from ever happening at your school. I am not telling you that at all. What I am telling you is it's about having to go to court. Can you defend yourself under the reasonable person standard when you go to court, that you had adequate supervision, that you provide the safe environment for students and for employees? Did you have emergency procedures in place when something went bad? And things can go bad, and it doesn't mean because you had procedures in place that nothing bad will ever happen at your school. It's not the point. The point is can you go to court and defend yourself and the school district? That you, as a reasonable professional, had taken all necessary steps to do what you could do to mitigate or to prevent things from happening. It's not about, we know if kids are going to fight, they're going to fight. But if the reasonable person standard is one adult for every 45 kids in a supervision situation. So if you've got 200 kids in the cafeteria and you've got 5 adults in there with them and they fight and one of them gets hurt and you get sued, you're going to be okay when you go to court. But if you only had 2 adults with 200 kids, even though it didn't matter if you'd had 100, it couldn't have stopped them from fighting. That's not the point. You didn't have adequate supervision. So that's the idea of school law is that we can't prevent everything from happening, but we can prevent the legal fallout from under the reasonable person standard that we provided adequate safety and security for our students. And that's what tonight's lesson was all about. So questions about the audit, the fire marshal audit here, or the crisis box, any of those things, the reasonable person standard for safety and security and supervision. Again, I'll say that number again. The reasonable person standard when you go to court is 1 adult for every 45 students.
1 adult.
1 adult for every 45 in a supervision situation. So if you've got a gym full of kids and you've only got 2 PE teachers in there and somebody gets hurt, you're going to get fried when you go to court. You've got a cafeteria full of kids and all the teachers ducked out and were hiding, didn't do their lunch duty, you're in trouble if somebody gets hurt.
I had a quick question about the crisis box.
Yes.
You said that was something, did you say that was a state law?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It's all in that document.
Okay.
Pull that document up. Yes, that is a state law.
Okay, I'm just asking because I'm at a charter school and I'm not quite sure if we have. So.
You should have one. Charters are still state supported schools. You should have one in charter school.
Okay.
Some of the things you can't waive.
Right.
Charter schools are about waiving a lot of the policies, but you can't waive the safety stuff.
Right.
Okay. So charter schools should have one also.
Okay.
That's just, again, you can get sued anytime by anybody, but
right.
The point is don't lose when you get sued. Good question. All right. Anybody else have anything tonight? Well, next week, we won't have to cover all the ins and outs. We'll just get right to the content next week. So, but if you have questions this week, email me. If you need me to email your site supervisor their task stream information and directions, I'll be glad to do that. Just let me know. All right. What's next? Anything for the good of the group?
This was great. I like the Zoom. So
Yeah.
thank you.
Great. Thank you.
Yes, it was very informative. Mm-hmm. Great.
Thank you. I like this.
Mhm.
I agree. Thank you for taking.
I think this is the way. I love the face-to-face with my classes, but I think this is the wave of the future for working adults. I think. All right. I see somebody's cut in for a chat here, so I'll go ahead and stop the recording and end the meeting. Again, let me know if you need anything, and I'll see you next Thursday. Y'all have a good week.
Okay.
You too.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks.